Rico, Bob Lazzari, and Tony D'Angelo here in Eastern Connecticut. Welcome to Monday Night Sports Talk.
Good evening,
Hey,
Rico.
thank you very much, Bob and Tony. Great to be on with you guys. And, you know, over the years, I've been to Connecticut a lot of times, doing a number of things, appearances and card shows, and, of course, visiting. Just a great place. I really enjoy visiting there.
And when I talked to Rico, Tony, last week, the first thing that I asked him I said, Rico, when you come to Connecticut the next time, Tony and I have to take you to New Haven for pizza.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we got on a little pizza thing, him being from Brooklyn and having the Boston thing, and us being from New Haven. I said, man, we can have a good time.
You probably
Rico.
got about 600 years of pizza experience between the three of us.
It's the truth.
But, again, a little background on Rico. Brooklyn, New York, Tony, again, signed by Boston as an amateur free agent in '61. Went on to play 13 years, all with the Red Sox.
Yes.
210 home runs in his career, over 770 RBIs, played in a couple World Series.
Yes.
Played under 8 different managers at my last count. We can talk to him a little bit about that. But had some great Hall of Fame teammates. We can get into a little bit of that. But we'll skip around a lot, Rico. We have many questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But I'll start it off, Rico, by saying, growing up in Brooklyn, was it always baseball for you? And did you grow up a major New York fan, following the home teams pretty closely?
Well, when I was growing up, I had the 3 teams in New York: Yankees, Dodgers, and Giants. And eventually, of course, the Dodgers and Giants moved. And my whole family were Yankee fans.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Mickey Mantle. You know, he was my idol. But I really liked the Dodgers. Geez, old Ebbets Field was like Fenway. You know, real small and people close to you, great fans, and I loved going there with my friends. You know, we'd sneak in once in a while. Don't say anything.
No.
But and then there were so many great players. You know, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Duke Snider. You know, it goes on and on. World championships, and they play each other almost every year in a World Series. And boy, you know, it was fun. It was really fun. And that's how I got to want to become a major league ball player. When my brother took me as a 6-year-old. First to Yankee Stadium, then the other ballparks, and I said, wow, this is fabulous. You know, I said, I want to be a Major League ball player someday, and it happened.
And it happened in '63. Rico came up, actually was just played in a game in '63, Tony, and then really started getting it going in '65. But when you hit the major leagues, Rico, I know you were used as both a shortstop and a third baseman. You played a lot at each position. Was there a position you preferred over the other, and is there any reason why you switched back and forth at times?
Well, I love shortstop. I mean, that's what I was. When I came up, I was under 60 pounds, and, you know, was a good fielder, just learning how to hit, tried switch hitting and all that. And then, you know, eventually caught up and started playing good ball at shortstop and then hitting home runs. And so the talk was that I would eventually move to third base. So we didn't have a third baseman at the time. They were trying different guys, and they went to the winter meetings. And I got a call, actually, right before Christmas and said, Eddie Casco was the manager, and Eddie said, you know, we're trying to get a third baseman, but it looks like we're not going to be able to get one. And but Louis Aparicio is available. Would you be willing to go over to third base, you know, now rather than maybe a year or two down the line? And I said, sure, you know, of course. I mean, Louis Aparicio, Hall of Famer, he's a great shortstop, had a couple of years left. He could still move some, you know. And so I did it. And I played 8 years at short and 5 years at third.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully, Frank Malzone was there in the organization. He helped me out a tremendous amount at third base with positioning and the bunt and all that stuff.
And, you know, Tony, I was looking I mentioned the managers that Rico, you and I had talked about.
The 8 managers,
8 of them. And I think 2 of them, Dick Williams and Eddie Casco, were former teammates of Rico before they managed him.
That's right.
Isn't that true, Rico? That's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
But, Dick Williams, of course, we know went on to manage a lot in the majors. But question, Tony, for Rico?
And Rico, good evening, an honor, a pleasure. I'm thrilled. You know, when you were being scouted in Brooklyn, I mean, I think of Brooklyn, I think of the great players. I think of Pepitone and Kurt Blefary and Torrey. And who were your contemporaries that, you know, when you were being scouted, like the better players that were down there at that time?
Well, Kurt Blefary, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to think of some of the others that were there that eventually made the major leagues. You know, you mentioned Torrey. Joe was a couple of years ahead of me. We played on the same team, but I played a couple of years after him on the team called the Cadets.
Yeah, no, we used to play in Connecticut. We came down, we played the Brooklyn Bonnies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played against them.
Yeah, they had a very good organization. They had kids like from, you know, diapers to a senior league team. It was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Cadets were the same way. And, you know, I wanted to go play for a team that scouts would come around, you know, to watch them. And and they were those teams were in a league that down the parade grounds in Brooklyn that scouts were, you know, that's why I saw Torrey, Koufax came out of Brooklyn, but he didn't play there. But Pepitone, you know, and guys like that. And I said, geez, you know, that'd be great if I can get down there. We played 70 games a year, and sure enough, I made that cadet team, and got a lot of exposure. And the big thing, the icing on the cake, was a doubleheader. All the scouts were down. We played at this high school field, which was very nice, Madison High School. I hit 5 home runs in a doubleheader.
Holy cow!
20 scouts there.
Good timing, Rico.
My God, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. I swear, one time I closed my eyes, I swung. Guy threw me a slider. They were pretty good competition because they would.
They would good ball down there, yeah.
From a double-A ball and got released or something, but they could throw breaking pitches. And I got fooled. I just seemed to close my eyes and bang, I hit it on the sweet spot and the thing was gone.
There
wow! I think maybe it's fate.
I guess it was. And again, folks, you're watching Monday Night Sports Talk Live, your May 9th edition. On the phone with us, former Red Sox great Rico Petrocelli. Rico, you were a two-time All-Star in '67, again in '69. The 40 home runs in '69 came after you had hit 12 the year before.
Yeah.
And you hit 97, Tony. He hit between '69 and '71. Rico, was that just a case of your body maturing, or you had mentioned you came up as a 160-pounder, or were you just becoming more and more familiar with Major League pitching?
Were you trying to hit home runs?
No, I thought, and the Red Sox thought someday I could, you know, maybe hit 25 home runs after maturing and all that. But I got big. I got strong. I gained 20 pounds in the off season.
I see.
There was a family. I got 4 brothers, and they were the same way. When they hit around 24, you know, they all got big and I got strong. I worked out. You know, of course, you know, nowadays if you do that, you know, they accuse you of steroids. But we didn't know what the hell a steroid was. It was something that you played records on. You know.
I was going to say, if you went from 12 home runs to 40, you're on the list.
Oh yeah. Geez. I got to pee in the cup for sure.
But that's some change from he really what a stretch between '69 and '71. Major power numbers. And I mentioned the two-time All-Star, Rico. It must have been such an honor playing in a game like that among your esteemed peers. What was it like to basically be chosen among the greatest ball players in the world at the time you were chosen? It must have been something to play in a game like that.
Yeah, and at that time the players and the managers voted. They didn't have the fans
Yes,
vote
and I missed that very much.
Yeah, and what a thrill! I mean, you just you try to get to the major league, make the major leagues, then you make it. You try to get established. You know, have a good year, and so you can go on, and then make the All-Star team. Jeez, you know, Mantle was there.
Wow.
I mean, we played against the National League in '67 in Anaheim. We played against Mays, Aaron.
Yeah, I watched that game.
Oh my God, 15-inning game. But Mantle comes in. Just holy jeez, these guys in the clubhouse. Oh, the Robinsons, for Baltimore. I mean, It was just fabulous.
Yeah.
What a thrill. Anybody that doesn't want to go to, they're crazy.
Yeah, the All-Star game now, Rico, seems different. It seems guys would rather have the time off. It seems guys are held back by their team for rest. It seems like the money is always an issue, Tony.
For sure.
But it's so sad because
Gary
I know you can hear it
Templeton's,
just in Rico's voice how honored he was.
How excited he was.
Tony, question.
And Rico, as an Italian kid growing up in Stamford, Connecticut, I used to look at you, and I used to look at Tony Conigliaro, and I'd say, wow, there's hope for me. And whenever I mention the name Tony Conigliaro, very few people really these days, as we go on, really don't even know who he was or what he did. Yeah, maybe in these parts they do, but some thoughts on Tony, some recollections, and somebody says to you, Rico, tell me about Tony Conigliaro. What do you tell him?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned him because today I was listening to, I don't know if you guys get it down there, WEEI.
We do.
Yeah, in the morning, guys were talking about comebacks, about, what's his name, for the Celtics, whose elbow got...
Rondo.
Yeah. Rondo, and then they were talking about others. Never mentioned Tony Conigliaro about a comeback. I never call. I would never call a show, but I wanted to call this show so badly. I said, "You got to be kidding me! They don't even remember him.
Yeah,
how could you
point.
not have
my point
that?
Exactly.
That was one of the greatest comebacks ever. I mean, this kid almost lost his eye. Period. Almost lost his life."
Now, you were in the on-deck circle that night, if I recall?
I was on the on-deck circle. I ran over there. I saw him. His face just blew up like a balloon, just like you're blowing up a balloon. And filled with blood.
And for our viewers out there, Rico, this was... I had read Conigliaro's stats the years coming up to this. The guy's power numbers, he was a natural. And this was 1970, I believe. And...
No. When Tony got hit?
Yes.
1967.
67.
Oh, I'm sorry, 67. And it was Jack Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, he was hit in the eye. Rico just described the horror at it. Conigliaro, Tony, never the same player. There was a comeback attempts. Actually looked good at some points, but Rico, do you think he ever got over it physically, or was it more of a mental thing with him later?
No, it was mostly physical.
Okay.
I tell you, he had no fear. No fear. When he made a comeback, you'd think, never flinched or never pulled out, or was afraid of the ball. He just he went right at it, same way before the beating. It's a guy who had a natural home run swing, power to all fields.
I remember.
Was a great clutch hitter. Wanted to be up there, in the tight situations. That's what he lived for.
Yeah.
And he could have been a guy that would hit 500 home runs, especially with the DH in the American League.
Sure.
Just terrific. A good friend, wonderful family. I know his brothers. Of course, Billy came up too. And Tony, the other thing about Tony, he's a good-looking guy, about 6'3", and single. And, he went on the Ed Sullivan Show and a couple of other shows to sing. He wanted to sing. And he had guts. I mean, I tell you.
Jeez.
And he dated some good-looking girls too, boy.
He had the world by the tail. And,
man, it was. I tell you, he was born to be a major leager.
Yeah,
and unfortunately,
yeah. I just remember I was only a small child at the time, Tony, but I did remember the picture in the paper the other day. The next day, where they just showed him with that black eye.
Unbelievable.
And it was unbelievably horror to a kid, of course. But again, for Rico to see it up close and personal, it's probably something that took yourself a long time to get over, Rico.
Well, we were worried about him initially, about his life, because the doctor came on the field. The trainer, the doctor, we took him off on a stretcher. They brought him right, to the hospital. And I mean, he was out, of course. He was, and geez, the swelling was the real danger. the blood that had formed on that side, and in his eye, doctor was thinking of cutting the eye so that the blood would release.
Wow.
And it was just terrible. It's one of the worst beatings I've seen, and I've been hit myself, but I've seen guys get hit in the mouth. But this thing here was, jeez.
Yeah, when we think of anything, we always think of Tony C. As far as the most.
I'm just very happy we remembered him tonight.
Yeah,
so few people. So few people.
Yeah, it sure is. Again, folks, on the phone with us, Rico Petrocelli, former Red Sox. I'm going to talk about World Series since Rico was in two of them, Tony. The 67 against St. Louis, where he hit 2 home runs, lost to the great Bob Gibson. We could talk about that in the middle in a minute. And then, of course, the 75 Red Sox lost to Cincinnati. That was your only 2 shots at world titles, Rico, and I think we mentioned this on the show we talked last week. Did you feel any redemption when the Sox finally won that title back in 2004? For all of you guys that basically had gone through some tough times.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were great because they acknowledged us, all the guys, in the past who came close and all that. And it was wonderful. They were a great bunch of guys, and the management, everybody was wonderful and have been wonderful to us. It was great. The big thing, I know you got a lot of Yankee fans in the New Haven area, but the big thing is that getting that the curse, off our backs. That was really, after a while, it got to be to really be a pain in the butt because. They always bring it up, which was smart of them. Earl Weaver used to bring it up to us all the time. Yeah,
sounds like Earl.
In the dugout. He'd smoking cigarettes and calling Petrocelli, the curse of the Bambino. I said, Earl, curse this. But no, really.
Goodness.
That's just the way it happened. And, of course, you don't hear about it any longer. And that's what it took to be able to do that. Yeah. But the rivalry is great. I have great respect for the Yankee organization. I really do. Of course, as I said, Mickey Mantle was my idol, and they have had some great teams, and you got to give them a lot of credit. But for the Red Sox, and the Red Sox fans, the 2004-2007 winning the World Championship. Oh man, it just took the monkey off our backs.
Yeah, and it was guys like Rico, Tony, who, the Red Sox names from the past that that I really thought of when that happened, because we have been watching him, the old Ken Coleman days when we hear him on the TV and the radio and et cetera, and that's what took me back. And I'm looking at some of your old former teammates, Rico. You play with such great ones. I mean, a lot of Hall of Famers, Tom. Yastrzemski, Fisk, Rice, Fergie Jenkins was one of his teammates. Lombard with the 22 wins in '67. He had mentioned Aparicio. Rico was there when Rice and Lynn were coming up.
Yeah, Cepeda was there for a while. He was the first DH the Red Sox had.
Wow.
I hit behind him, and boy, he could. He swung a 46-ounce bat.
Oh, God help us all.
And the handle was as thin as put 2 fingers together. Put your 2 fingers together. That's how thin it was.
Wow.
And I used to say, they're going to just jam him and just break that bat. Yeah. They tried to throw him inside, and I want to tell you, he was so strong. He got that bat out there and just smoked the ball to left field. I mean, he was a heck of a hitter. And we had Juan Marichal for a short time.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, and some great pitchers, to Earl Wilson.
Did he have anything left by that time, Rico?
No, he hurt his arm, and he was trying to make a comeback.
Yeah.
In those days, the Red Sox, they would pick up those type guys, hope to revive their careers.
Looking at some of those pitchers throughout the years, Sonny Siebert, Sparky Lyle was one of his teammates, Louis Tiant.
Yes.
And also Gary Peters. And what struck me about Gary Peters, one year in '71, Rico, he hit 3 home runs, drove in 19 runs. He hit 271, the pitcher, Gary Peters.
Oh, he was a hell of a...
He was a great hitting pitcher.
Absolutely. They would have him pinch hit many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's why I wish... The DH, the game wasn't invented for the DH. I know it's not going to go away, but even if it's a lousy hitting pitcher, he might bunt. Might get a guy over. There's strategy involved. That's no longer the case in the American League. But it is there's an advantage for teams though to have the DH and you have that one extra guy in the lineup, and you could save some careers too.
Oh yeah,
guys could still hit and can't do anything else.
As you see on the screen, we're showing a collage of some of your old pictures, Rico. We have baseball cards, we have rookie cards. We're showing them. We're showing your uniform, the number 6, and kind of a recent picture of you. That's a pretty cool collage.
That's a very
there,
nice,
but,
very nice job.
That's a good job by our studio coordinator Scott Hill putting that together. Tony, other question for Rico?
And Rico, I mean, probably as far as I might think the best game ever in the history of baseball was that Game 6 of the 1975 series. And 2 questions I want to ask you. What was the reaction on the bench when Carbo hit the home run? That's my first one.
Oh.
Were you guys like, I mean, I don't want to say were you shocked. I know how I felt watching it, but I want to hear from someone who was there.
Well, I was on first base. I think Lynn was on second.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, most people know that his first 2 swings were.
He looked
even
awful.
He said like little league swings.
Yeah.
He's so cool. Oh, I said, but boy, the next one he got a pitch to hit and he just nailed it. That ball went up, the trajectory going out towards center field. I was on first. I still get the chills now just talking about it. Wow. And you could see it go, and bang, it lands up and ties the game in center field.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was just the guys were all out of the dugout. I mean, everybody was so happy.
I could only imagine.
The fans, of course, were going crazy. And it was just a tremendous home run. And I see Bernie. I see Bernie fairly often.
That's good.
And what about Fisk's home run? Where were you on the field at that time?
Well, I was in the dugout then.
Yeah,
I was in the dugout, and just like Fisk, what he was doing with his arms, trying to keep it fair. We were all looking at it to stay fair, stay fair, and boom, hit the pole. And,
what a night that was!
Oh, it sure was.
After a game like that, you figure you got to win the next game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like fate. It's just got to happen, and. We went out 3-0 on Lynn's 3-run home run, and then they came back, and they were a great team, though. The Cincinnati Reds, the big red machine.
They sure were, and I just want to rewind to '67, and we mentioned Bob Gibson, and I'd be remiss 3 wins in that series, and I don't know if you can put it into words to our viewers what it was like batting against a guy that was. That dominant, Rico, I know you had a good series yourself, but maybe you could just tell our viewers what kind of pitcher that guy was.
Well, you say I could put it into words, but I don't think I can mention him on a family show because it wasn't fun. I'll tell you.
Yeah, he was a mean guy, right?
Well, yeah, but he didn't throw it at anybody. He'd pitch inside. Everybody pitched inside then. They weren't afraid because they didn't have to worry about getting warnings or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to give you an example, the first game, my father from Italy and my mother were there, and my brothers and sisters. I'm the 7. I'm the youngest of 7.
Wow.
And some nieces and nephews. So one of my friends sat behind my father, and he told my wife, I'm going to have a little fun with him, this game, see what happens. So I get up there the first time. 3 swings, strike out. But my friend goes, Petrocelli, you're a bum. You're a bum. My father turns around. This is true story. Father turns around and says, hey, my son, he's a no bum. What's the matter with you? He's a good boy. So, hey, second time up, same thing, 3 swings. Whoosh. Petrocelli, you're a bum. Hey, what's the matter with you? He's a good boy. He plays the baseball all his life. Third time, strike out again, same team. Same thing. 4th time, I come up there, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. My father, Petrocelli, you're a bum.
That's an Italian father for you. My father's probably watching, saying, "Yep."
I'll never forget that.
That's a great
story.
Struck out 4 times against him. 4 times. I don't think I fouled the ball off.
Did his ball move, or was he just that quick, Rico?
Yeah, all his ball, tremendous movement. About 96, 97, and then he had a slider, which forget it, you couldn't even,
Yeah.
You were looking for the fastball.
Oh, boy.
And a great athlete, great defensive pitcher, too. You know, he could catch the ball, everything, but he was tough. Boy, he really, great movement on his fastball.
Yeah, great athlete, as you said, Harlem Globetrotters, right, Tony?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
One last question, Tony, for Rico?
Yeah, and Rico, you know, you started out the beginning of the segment mentioning Mickey Mantle. And Mantle in his later years, I used to watch a lot of Yankee games. He was playing first base and kind of hobbling around. The question I wondered is, was there sort of an unwritten rule in the league like, you know, don't bunt on Mickey playing first base?
Oh, no. No. We had no sympaty for anybody.
No.
You know, if you can get on, you're going to get on.
You're
Just
gonna
like
bunt,
team was injuries, you know, when you play against a team like that, you don't feel sorry for them. You're going to nail them before, you know, while you got the opportunity if you can do it. So, Mickey, but I don't recall, certainly not many of us bunted that way, and I don't think he had too much trouble. You know, I mean, it wasn't a great fielding first baseman, but
he was decent, you know.
He was decent. He was very adequate. He caught the balls that he could get to.
Yeah.
But what a guy! He was great. Well, just to let he retired in '68. Jim Lawn hit his last home run off Jim Lawnborg.
Yeah.
And I caught his last ball, last out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I threw the ball. Wasn't the end of the game, so I threw the ball to, you know how they do. You know, they throw it on the mound for the
Sure.
run it in.
Yeah.
The last time I heard, the ball would have been worth about $35,000.
Wow. Yeah.
So
think about it.
I'll never give up a ball again. I don't care where it's from.
You never know, Rico. You never know.
Right.
Well, Rico, but our time is just about done, and again, we've only scratched the surface. Maybe we can have you on later in the summer and talk more about the current Red Sox and things like that. We've
absolutely.
only really
I follow them religiously.
Oh, great! And then we can talk more and see if they gel, and it'll be a great time to do that. But it's been an honor having you on.
It certainly has.
We
Sir.
thank you
Thanks
for your
for having
cooperation as far as being in touch, and I will continue to do that, Rico. And be well, and our best to your family.
God bless.
Thanks a
Take
lot,
care,
guys.
Rico.
Tony, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.